everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So, a few things. Today is day 16, I think. Let me see. Is it day 16? Day 16 of the challenge, Apex challenge. Real quick, the strategy did not play out today, but I was profitable. And the reason being is that I've learned to take profit along the way, and I'm not running my strategy stop loss to break even. But I am going to mark it up as a loss in my sheet. And I just wanted to be completely transparent with you guys because Apex, unfortunately, has a trailing, is it a trailing drawdown? It has a trailing drawdown, but the drawdown is unrealized on your profits. So if you have a trade that's going up in profit and it comes back down and stops you out, whatever it went up in profit plus your stop loss eats away at your trailing drawdown. And I'm not about to lose my account on some shit like that, right? If you're new to the channel, thank you for clicking. If you're not, thank you for sticking around. I created this channel for completely selfish reasons, right? I created a year ago to pass the FTMO challenge, and we did. However, I thought that I could take a break from the channel and just trade by myself, and I was wrong. I didn't realize how much I needed you guys, and I appreciate everybody commenting and all the love. And honestly, there's a lot of lot of good things that came from this channel, and I didn't realize how much it actually meant until I decided to, trade by myself. And then what happened? Bad habits came in, and then the CFD firms all took a shit, and that's it. And fast forward to now, we're trading futures, right? So I'm currently funded, maxed allocation on Top Step, which is 3 accounts of 150K. And we're on our process of passing some Apex challenges, right? That's where we're at. Currently, we have been doing extremely well. And the strategy is extremely simple. Now, I used to teach it as far as black and white, stop loss, take profit. With Apex, you can't do that, number one. And with FTMO, you were able to, because if you had a 100K account, your drawdown was 10 grand, right? And basically you could bring up the account to, let's say 105,000 and come all the way down to 109, and you're down $14,000, but it's 10 grand from the initial balance that you started with, right? And you can work your way all the way up. With Apex and Top Step, you can't. Top Step is end of day trailing stop loss, or whatever it is, whatever your balance is at end of day, it's X amount from there, right? And Apex is trailing with your profits during the day when you're in a trade, when you're out of a trade, yada yada yada. The strategy is extremely simple. All we're doing is taking price from 12 midnight to 8:30. This is all New York time, Eastern time. Between that range of time, whatever happens to price, and you're just going to mark out the high and the low of that range. It's extremely simple. That's it. So if you think about it in the sense of, this would be a higher time frame, right? High and low, regardless. It might be ranging that day, but it's a higher time frame, higher and low, because you're taking a period of 8 hours, right, and marking out the high, or 8.5 hours, and marking out the low. It's a higher time frame, higher low. You're waiting for during the New York session, right after 8:30, for price to break the high and low, and for there to be a market structure shift. That's it. That's all you're waiting for, right? When that happens, you're going to take your fib out, and you're going to start trailing until you start getting the pullback, right? So let's say you have a candle closure below this higher low, creating a lower low, right? You're going to start trailing until it starts to pull back. And then hopefully price pulls back into the 61.8 and then slams your TP, right? In this scenario, that's what you're looking for. Now, if it takes out your high and then comes down and takes out your low without a pullback, you're going to start looking for a buy. You're going to look for the market structure shift and look for a buy all the way up. Okay, so I want you guys to keep that in mind. The strategy is the strategy. It works. We just have to adjust some things just because of the prop firm that we're trading it in, right? And honestly, it's sometimes it's nice to take the profit early. You don't fully capitalize on all the money, but money in the bank is money in the bank, right? Jumping to today's price action, I wanted to go over what I did because I did take money to the bank. And okay, I did take money to the bank, and it should have been a loss. So taking a look at price, right? Here's your high, and here's your low. I'll go over why I did what I did. And even though I won, so the account is up $2,000. However, I'm going to mark it as a loss. Okay? Playing price forward, you're going to see that we take out the low, right? Let's play price a little forward more. You notice that right here, we created a lower high. So we're looking, if you're going to look for a market structure shift, you want that lower high broken, right? Swap liquidity, create a new lower high. So now this is the one that you want broken, right? And then bam, 930 comes and completely destroys everything, right? And goes up and takes out the high. So at this point, I'm not looking for a buy anymore. The trade went without me, and I will wait to see if we get a sell setup. Price continues to pump. Here we have a possibility for a setup. We want that low to be closed below. Price forward. Now we want this low to be closed below. Right? Took out this liquidity with this candle. This was the low that took out that high. It gets wicked. No closure. Closed. Okay. At this point in time, I was confident on this trade because of a few things. This is not the only chart that I look at when I'm trading. I have my chart set up like this. Let me delete this. We'll get into that in a minute. So I'm trading, let's see. I'm trading both of these charts together, right? So, sorry. I start pulling my fib out. As price was playing out, right? Price continued to drop, and then we start getting the pullback. So here we are. I set a pending order. I set it at the 59 because I like getting activated into my trades. Sometimes the spread doesn't tag me in, and I set 2 times risk. So as I'm actively looking at the trade, right, we didn't have much displacement, but we had a market structure shift, right? Over here, we started getting a pullback with this candle, right? And as price was playing and I was getting activated into my limit order, this setup happens. So we have a divergence. Where's my little line tool? Right here. So we have a divergence, right? This high to this high, and then this high to this high. Now, if it wasn't for this setup, I wouldn't have doubled down into my trade, right? I've noticed that most of the time when there is divergence, it's an added confluence towards towards my setup as far as it being a sell or a buy, right? Especially the fact that ES had an engulfing bearish candle at that moment, which is a good sign that it swept liquidity, engulfing candle that we're going to at least take out the lows on ES, right? And here we created divergence, so I doubled down on my size. I went in another 3 contracts. So I went in 3 contracts on my first, on my first trade, and 3 contracts on my first trade was $1,000 worth of risk. I went in 3 contracts, and then I tightened my stop. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know why it does that. Maybe it's because my work computer is still on. So I tightened my stops to the candle's body. And then I played price out. Well, then I held the trade. It was just a complete plummet, right? I secured profit when my account showed $2,000. I closed out. I'm sorry, when I saw $2,500 worth of profit, I closed out 5 contracts and then left it for break even. And that was pretty much the trade today. So overall, I was looking at the Apex rules because they did change some rules. You are allowed, this is a evaluation account, so you're allowed to do whatever hell you want, but on a PA account, you are allowed to enter in a second position even if the trade is going against you, but that's it. You can't just keep clicking, buy or whatever, trying to get out of your trade. You're allowed one time only, and you need a stop loss. So it works out for me. And that was pretty much it. The trade played out. Did not hit full TP. So taking a look at the trade, you're going to notice that price eventually comes back, stops me out at the break even, and goes for new all-time highs again. Here would have been another SMT divergence. But I made money, stopped trading, and that was it. If you look at from here to here, right? Higher high, higher high. But over here, which is this one, you have higher high, lower high. If it lets me click, Jesus Christ. Sorry, guys. I don't know what's up with me today. There you go. So, honestly, the setup was on ES for sure. Like, hands down, this setup on ES was freaking sweet, right? A market structure shift closed below all these lows, right? Price kept pushing down, pulls up, anterior 61.8, right? Which would have been, here, right? And then plummets. And on top of that, you have SMT divergence. Solid, right? This would have been your solid trade on ES. I'm honestly thinking about starting a 300K challenge with ES, but I'm going to do it when we pass this one. So I'll do a whole other scenario as passing the 300K challenge, but based on ES only. And then hopefully my goal is you're allowed 20 accounts, right? So I'm going to start layering them up 300 at a time. So I'm going to do, 1, 2, 3, 4, how many ever I could put under my belt trading NQ, and then I want to do the same thing for ES. Because when NQ wasn't as profitable, I should say when NQ was slowing down, ES honestly was making money. And I'm going off of, a back test that I did for January where it was extremely slow for NQ, but meanwhile, ES was just extremely profitable. And the whole point is just to get to the point of passing, right? So in my head, this is the way I see it. I want to pass these challenges, get to the point of having my funded accounts. For the 300K account, you need $7,600 worth of profit before you're able to withdraw money. So I want to build up that cushion, maybe trading $500 at a time, $1,000 at a time. I'm not sure what I'm going to do, but somewhere around that scenario, I don't mind it taking me a month, 2 months, 3 months. It slow and steady wins the race, right? At that point in time, I will. At that point in time, you don't have a trailing drawdown. Whatever cushion you create is your drawdown, and then I'll sit there and adjust my contract size accordingly, right? So if I have, let's say, $8,000 worth of a cushion, I will probably lower my contract size to, let's see, 8,000. If it's $500, then I can lose 16 times without blowing the account, right? Which is extremely rare. But I'm still making $1,000 on every trade. So that's my goal. And if I could do that with ES and also NQ, it'd be phenomenal, right? So that's that's where I'm going with this, right? And I'm just trying to have different pockets, I guess, right? Like, I don't want all my eggs in one basket when it comes to NQ, because emotionally for me it gets frustrating, right? If I would have taken this loss and then I saw this one was a winner, it would bother me. So I'm going to more than likely play them both out, because they honestly, dude, like, this setup, whether you believe me or not, works, right? As long as you stick to the 2 to 1, right? It really does work. And you can also go in a little heavier or go for a 1 to 1.5, and it's still profitable. It's just the win rate is way more than 33%, right? The win rate, if I lower, so you guys understand, some of these, trading gurus, they'll tell you, oh, 1 to 1 and it's a winner, right? When you, or even 1 to 0.50, like, that's their take profit. I was going for straight 2 to 1 because that's just realistic to me, right? Like, a 1 to 1 break even is just not. You have to be right 70% of the time to make some substantial money, right? And this trade definitely at a 1 to 1 hits way more than the 53% win rate that I have. And on top of that, you guys can play around with the take profit. Take a look at it. This trade right here, right? It didn't hit a 1 to 2, but if you would have taken profit at a 1 and 1.5, you're gonna notice that it hit, or almost hit, or maybe it would have been a break even trade, but there's room to make money here, right? Definitely room to make money. You just have to do the data, put it down, and crunch the numbers. It's extremely simple. It's just the more information you have, the better you're equipped for making the decision on what to do, right? So that was pretty much it for the day. I know I've been promising that video for Ninja Trader, and I'm definitely gonna get to it. I promise you guys, I'm gonna get to it. It's just I have to set up my computer at the store to record, and the one that I trade off of. So I'm gonna do that, and yeah, and that's pretty much it. Anyways, you guys have a great night, and I'll be back here tomorrow.